The Boss and the Sauce Show.
Boss and the Sauce Show.
Boss and the Sauce Show.
Boss and the Sauce Show. Here we go.
What up, thou? Yes. We are live and direct right now. It is Saturday, the 9th of September, and it's week 2. How you feeling out there, Big Ragu, on week 2?
I'm feeling pretty good. I licked my wounds a little bit after last week's some of the plays, but week 1's always an interesting week, and I'm feeling pretty good though, man. Feeling good about today's card actually, and I'm feeling pretty darn good, my friend. How about yourself?
I'm feeling good too. Let's do just a quick review of last week's, crazy as it was. But last week, it kind of resolved in, what you thought of teams and where you thought they should be at and where they at, so forth and so on. And sometimes you miss because, you miscalculated or, first game's jitter, but you learn from those situations about those teams. First one that we had to talk about a little bit is BYU. I mean, BYU left us hanging for almost 2 quarters at a 14-0 game, which they should have covered the 19 easily.
Yeah, easily.
But a bunch of missed opportunities. So do we think BYU is hey or nay? Where do we put the BYU after this?
Well, I think they got to work some things offensively that they kind of miscued and shot themselves on the foot. Just when you think they were going to, blow things open, they take a step back and shown some good signs and take a step back. So a lot of inconsistencies on the offense. Defensively, they played great. I mean, they shut them out. I mean, come on.
Absolutely.
And Sam Houston, to their credit, they stepped up when they had to do. And, that was a tough call for them to come up, their first FBS role. But they played a decent game overall. But, I think they definitely got outplayed on the defensive side without question. But, yeah, they're going to have to tighten some things up on the offense for BYU.
Absolutely. And Penn State, West Virginia, we were kind of spot on that one. We, hit both sides, the under, first half, Penn State. That, I guess, playing in the White House, Penn State, I mean, it is what it is. It worked out. So that's a good thing moving forward, I say. You got any comments on that one?
Yeah, but they put the over and the game and to cover late. They played a good game, solid game. It's a Penn State-like type of game for them, so nothing to draw off of that game, more or less. It's kind of what we expected to happen. I thought maybe they got off to a little slower start than I'd like to see, but they'll be okay.
Okay, so going into Houston and UTSA, Houston did what I thought they did, and they beat UTSA. Washington and Colorado State, the over on that one was fine. Big Ragu, NIU, Boston College was a great hit, plus 8.5, and outright win for Northern Illinois.
The bright spot of the day.
Yeah, that was the bright spot, right? Yeah, then we had La Tech. Anything about the La Tech SMU game?
Yeah, I think I know you were not a favorite of Bachmeier, and the La Tech, I thought they struggled a little bit there, and SMU I thought they would take a little bit of step back, with Mordecai being gone, but they look like they're pretty much the team that we thought they would be early on, and they performed well in that game.
Yeah, not much to say about Iowa and Utah State. The under in the Colorado got blew up big time and went over in that one.
Was that ever? How about that? That's the big hype right now is the Colorado team.
Yeah. We'll get into some of that later. And then Tennessee, they look good over there. New quarterback and all, taking care of business. So I plan to land on Tennessee on some spots later on in the season as well. But we in week 2 now, so week 2 is sort of a week where you're gonna see a lot of mishaps and stuff, special teams, a lot of outside factors come in, just teams not being focused all the way, too many moving parts going on, trying to correct areas. So it's a a week you want to take lightly, but when you pick a spot that you either saw the two teams last week or you got a good edge, you got to stand on it because this is the point where if you're gonna have some type of trend or lean or any type of bias, I'm gonna say on the team, now's the time to jump on it because if it works for you, then you can get as much out of it as you can. So smash those angles hard if you got to smash them. You got any words for the people going into week 2 before we run through these games?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, week one's under our belt now, and like we start off week one basically looking at last year's numbers per se, and then you kind of figure the recruits and the transfer porters, kids stepping up, so coaching changes. So there's a lot of moving pieces in week one. Week two, the dust settles a little bit, and then some teams, like there's a team today, I think San Diego State's got, this will be their third game in the week two, but they played every week. So teams are start getting traction. You'll start picking up on things there, and then you'll try to avoid some of the pitfalls you avoid in week one, and just kind of let things settle. And there's still a lot of cupcake games. You'll see this going on for the first couple of weeks because a lot of guys are playing out of conference, and then a lot of falsehood still, but just put week one aside and then just refocus on week two.
Absolutely, man. So yeah, I always like to give the people a nice look at what's going on, so you guys can look at the games we pick and the stuff we choose and use it against us. But we are in our right mind at some time looking at this, but sometimes things get out of hand. So let's keep this thing going, man. So let's see here. Let's get this right. Oh.
Yeah, there's some pretty good matchups. Not there's some key matchups today. What was impressive. The big talk was like how the Pac-12 was 13-0 week one, the only conference in history. I said it took them to dismantle themselves to win every game.
Yeah, but
I thought that was kind of. But there were some good ball clubs over there, like 6 or 7 teams that could snake that conference away, which is really interesting right now. With, like you said, with the dismantling of the conference the way it's going, but. It's going to be real interesting look in the Pac-12 this year.
Yeah, and I count that too. California athletes and all that stuff. They play good out of conference, just like a lot of conference nowadays. Some it's going to be conferences that are good out of conference, but once they start playing each other, they just beat each other up, just like the Big Ten every year.
That's the truth.
So yeah,
it was just interesting. It's kind of like an oxymoron type of thing,
Yeah.
Everybody's kind of trying to bolt, and then all of a sudden they're gelling together and they're getting all the glory right now.
Yeah, it's nice to see the Pac-12 finally doing something though. Yeah. So and that's going to reflect over to bowl games as well. So lock that in, for the bowl games later on. But let's jump right into this first game. Nebraska at Colorado. We're going to go first up right into the smoke, 9 a.m. Colorado was -3. I think it's up to 3.5 now. I did these numbers a couple of days ago. The over-under at 59.5. You want to jump in on this, or you got any parts of this, Big Red?
I'll make some comments on it, though. I'm not going to be involved in the game. I know if you go back and look, when Vegas comes out with the opening numbers, in this particular spot, Nebraska was a 7-point favorite because, we didn't know who the Colorado coach was going to be, obviously, at that point in time. But, going forward, after what Colorado did last week, at TCU and dismantled them as a 3-touchdown underdog, and I think on the money line, I can't even count that high how much you would have got if you'd have won that on the money line. But anyways, a very impressive effort, over 500 yards by Dion's kid, and then offensively, with Travis playing on both sides of the ball. That's a recruit they stole from my team, Florida State, but. They got a great two-way opposition. The weakness for them is going to be the defense going forward for them. I think they have to clean up some things defensively. But, you know what I mean? Is it an aberration? Because it's hard to say because there's only one game under their belt. But, don't underestimate. Same thing with Nebraska. You look at Nebraska, they had a real talented offense last year. They have some remaining talent, Rule. Matt Rule, he's a true college coach. He's a program rebuilder. His numbers are usually not spectacular the first year, but he'll get that program on track. I mean, this is one of the games that I had early on in the season for Dion to win. I think the season total was like 2.5, and this is one that I had. Now you would think I'd be all over this game like a cheap suit, but I'm getting scared off a little bit because there's too much attention on Colorado right now, and all the public. I don't know how much of it's sharp, but I know a lot of the money's coming in. I did see some power ratings for some guys that I trust that favoring the Colorado here, but I think I kind of like the over here. And in actuality, I think Nebraska's they have the offensive capability to put points up on the board. Defensively, they're not really that good, but like I say, first year coach here too, and we know what Colorado's already done with their game, and I think we'll see points scored here. So I'm not going to be on it, but I lean to the over.
Okay, well, I'm jumping in on this game. I'm taking Colorado in this one. I think this is a modern day play on the public and people that watch social media and stuff like that. Because if you dig a little deeper into this game, you actually could consider this game a bum fight according to their history from last year. And I don't see what's so impressive about Matt Rule in Nebraska coming in on the road at that to come into Colorado to think that I think the number is very low. It probably should be 7. I mean, you talk about athleticism versus a team that's kind of trying to put things together. Matt Rule doesn't have he doesn't have anything to prove or anything in his first year. He's just gathering this team together. So I think it's a lot of public bias moving the game. I watched the game. The numbers did go up. Remember, I was on the under. So Deion's a defensive coach again. I think this is going to be a big learning lesson for him because one of the parts they lack was versus the run. And Nebraska's going to come to run the ball. They have a motor quarterback in Jeff Sims. And Deion's been coaching them this week to, you got to stop this run. So they're going to put something together. I think we were all surprised about the athletes that Deion ended up with, but the athleticism is out the roof. And if you want to give me 3.5 points between that type of athleticism, I'll take them because they'll go to the bridge. And I also endorse the over as well because, like I said, they will go to the bridge. This is and let's talk outside of the box a little bit. A lot of people invested big time into this Colorado team and Deion Sanders. This is a first home game coming off a win. The alumni, everybody to impress is going to be in the stands and watching the game. So did Deion come out huge this week over this Nebraska team? I even took a little sprinkle on something a little exotic at a plus 1,000 for Colorado to win in between 11 and 15 points. So I'm on Colorado, and Colorado will win between 11 and 15 points. Yeah. Let me take a peeping at our chat real quick. What up to the chat, man? We got X Nizzle in here, North Ender. My man Noli Knows from Long Beach in the house. Kong's Kips is in here. Of course, our guy Justin is in here, man. He was in here bright and early. And the chat's going up too. So if you just watching, I advise you hop in the chat. If you have any questions, my man Nutflush Allen's in the house. Or if you want to bounce something against some of these great cappers in the chat. And I'm gonna just keep the show rolling and go into the next game. And keep it rolling. Y'all keep the chat going, and I'll grab some questions out of the chat so us to talk over. Yeah, so this is an early game right here, Nebraska, Colorado. Let's keep it moving to the next one. Another early game right here, Virginia at James Madison. JMU minus 6.5. Over under is 40. Now, last year JMU started off to a great start, showed a lot of promise in that team on the offensive side and the defensive side of the ball. So I didn't go too deep into this game. I'm just grabbing the surfaces of it. But Virginia, on the other hand, is a big downer team, really below expectations right now. Consider this could be a bad year for Virginia right here. You got JMU minus 6.5 is up to 7. Where are you at in this game, Big Ragu?
Well, this is going to be a very emotional day for Virginia. Don't forget what happened. I hate to, bring it up even to talk about it, but, it's been out there for a bit. And what happened with this team last year with the death of the players and then, the cancellation at the end of the season, with the Virginia Tech, the bowl game, the whole nine. This is a team that was in peril at the end of the year. And I kind of backed them last week, and it was a real bad spot to back them in actuality, now that I reflect upon it. But, because they were on the road, they were playing Tennessee, and Tennessee is, they had the number 1 offense last year. So that was really a bad matchup for them. So they kind of lick their wounds and they come home, and they're in a spot now where they're going to play their first game at home since everything happened last year, and they're playing little brother. James Madison, who's an FCS juggernaut, really played a good season last year, their first year in FBS. I think they're still trying to figure things offensively out. James Madison is. I know Virginia usually lives on the defensive side of the ball, but this is just going to be a pure emotion play. I mean, and college is a very emotional game. So now you're telling me you got James Madison going to play the Cavaliers in their stadium, the first game home since everything happened. They're going to be amped up. This team is. Yeah, they got the one game under their belt versus a tough Virginia squad. So whatever they're going to see thrown at them offensively, they've already seen it with Tennessee. Now they're going to take what I think is a struggling James Madison revamped offense against a pretty good defense in Virginia. You know what? I'm taking a home team here on emotion. I'm taking them on motivation, and I'm taking them on the defensive side with the offensive struggles of Madison. It's going to be a lower score game. I lean towards the under here, but I'm going to be all over Virginia here, and I'm going to sprinkle on the money line.
Oh yeah, I got that backwards too in the mock-up. But yeah, at Virginia in this one. But someone in the comments, Kong says this game's supposed to be dedicated to those who got killed. Those type of factors play a big part of college football. So run with those edges. I'm not personally on the game, but I'm gonna put you down for Virginia. What plus 7?
Yeah, Virginia plus 6.5.
Plus 6.5.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then let's see what the money line is on this thing. Money line is right around plus 200.
There we go with a sprinkle for Big Ragu.
Yeah.
Let's keep it going. Next game up, Texas and Alabama. Now I'm gonna keep it $1.50 to y'all. I really want to play this game in my mind, but my body wouldn't even let me get to totally cap it out myself. Because the cap on it, I mean, it's a really hard cap. Like you can't really go in and measure, defenses versus offenses. I mean, you seen what Texas have, what Alabama. But the fact of the matter here is that what's going on with Saban at this point. I mean, but this game is kind of like Texas calling them out to give them 7 at home versus Texas. Of course, Texas almost won last year, but that was last year. I don't see how that carries over to what's going on in the present. If anything, it gives Alabama more reason to, work harder. But Alabama definitely don't have the pieces that they used to have overall. So it could just make it a game, and that's what decides a case on either side of this game. And then to looking into the total, I couldn't go nothing but maybe over in this one because it's going to be game time for whoever to win in the fourth quarter. So it could go haywire. So I didn't get to the window with this one. Did you get to the window, Big Ragu?
Yeah, I got to the window. It's all Bama for me here. I mean, it's not going to be easy by no stretch of the imagination because, if this game is anywhere near what it was like last year, I mean, Texas definitely should have won that game. And I get it. That game was in Texas, up in Austin. And this year, the game's in Tuscaloosa. So, we can't count Saban out. I know we keep talking about Saban, but, if you go back and look at what you and I talked about availability, talent-wise, what was brought in from the transfer portal, I mean, this team picked up, 4 or 5 kids. That's it.
Yeah.
So they're loaded up. And nothing wrong with Texas. I mean, yours is a true freshman last year, spectacular. He's got a great arm on him. He's probably going to have to make some plays with his legs, but and Robinson's gone, but and they have a lot of talent on weapons. If you had to go talent for talent in skill positions, they can make an argument they have the better players possibly, But I think Sarkisian, he knows Saban. It's another mentor versus the I wouldn't call him a student, but Sarkisian's been around the block a few years, but he still played under Saban. So when Saban has like a little notch in his belt when he plays these type games that he kind of likes to prove a point. And then, this is going to be like a tone-setting game for both of these teams. But I think it's a bigger game. It's a bigger game for both teams, actually. But this is going to be a statement game for Saban here. So I just think Bama at home in Tuscaloosa, normally we're seeing, first halves and that type of. I'm staying away from all that nonsense today. I think Alabama wants to put the game away late and often, and then I look for Bama to win by 2 scores here. So not taking another away from Texas, great ball club, but today it's all about Roll Tide, roll.
Yeah, and I agree with it. I just didn't get to the window with it. I think it's gonna be a great game to watch overall. So, yeah, I'm gonna watch from the outside. And Big Ragu did mention, but yeah, that's one of our things from last year that we noticed is when Saban has to go against some of his. I'm gonna still call him his students because he's hot as hell about all of his students that was under him and the success that they're having against him. So covering Alabama for Sarkeesian has been a thing for a while, but not for me today. I'm gonna stay off. Let's keep the boat rolling. Next up, Texas State at UTSA. This is a game right here. Now I know the angle on this game, but I hesitated to do it, so it took a little while, and I never really made it to the window. But after this show, this might be one that I want to add to my card for the day. But I wanted to hear what you had to say about it first, though, Big Ragu.
Yeah, well, last week was like the big surprise with the UTSA team that lost that game. Just I know our boy Jose, he was ecstatic about the result of that, and I kind of liked UTSA last week, but it wasn't a game where I got involved. But the even bigger story of that game was the Texas State big win. That they took over Baylor. That was like that would have probably got all the limelight if it wasn't for Colorado. In that regard. So this is a Texas State ball club that's a pretty decent squad overall, but I think today they're just going to be outmatched, out talented. Not taking nothing away from the win that they did with Baylor, but I think kind of Baylor's their program is a little bit in peril right now because ever since Aranda left, it hasn't been the same. So and it's starting to flash signs of weakness there. So just keep that in the back of your mind. But Frank Harris. I don't think I think today is a game that he'll straighten everything out here, and I think what's going to happen is if they can contain Finley, which I think they will on the other side of the ball, I think they got too much firepower. This is a team that's projected to win the conference this year, and this is a game that I like a lot today. I think UTSA doubles up on this squad here. I mean it's a bigger line. Obviously, you're looking at 14 points. But I can see, like a 42 to 20 type game here, 42-21. I think they won by 3 scores here. So I'm backing UTSA here in a big way.
Yeah, no. See, now I'm not getting to the window with this one because my angle on this game right here is Texas State was like number 2 in transfers, just like Colorado is. So this is the new thing with the transfer portal right here is basically – Dion did a clear house, so he cleared out all that was there, and he brought in mostly every player as a transfer. What kind of results did we get from that? TCU didn't have much to cap them off of going into the game because they didn't know who was who, where, coming from these different places. Could you imagine the homework they had to do on each player to figure out what they're going to play against? So Texas State has the same dynamic here with 37 transfers going into this game. This is a Texas on Texas game. I only like to take the points with interstate rivals right here, but it is getting played out at the Alamo Dome. So, and that's fast too. So the over should be, and that was one of the things about Texas State too last week when they played a good game. It was mostly on the offensive side of it. So this is a full rebuild over here for Texas State. I do find a little value with Texas State plus the 14, but I'm gonna just let that ride because we know from past history that teams that have many transfers, it doesn't always work out like that. It takes too much to bring them together in such a short period of time. But some of these teams that did it and held on, and these transfer players are in their second and third year, it works out for them. Like I'm gonna give an example of UCLA's defense because those guys were recruited as transfers maybe 2 years ago, but now they're kind of blossoming together. So let's keep it moving.
Hey, one quick note on that, DJ, with this game here. I mean, a big part of what happened with the UTSA last week was that Harris, he threw the 3 picks. And Texas State, to their credit, their defense, came away with 2 takeaways. So if UTSA takes care of the football,
they should bring it
I'm not going to say it's an easy win, but I think it's a 3-score cover. And then you talk to anybody else, that's an easy win. But sometimes games, the results look different on paper than they do when they're played on the field. And I think this is one.
Most of the time, yeah. Let's keep it rolling though. Next up, North Carolina at App State. UNC plus nine. I mean minus 19 with a 58 in Chapel Hill. This game has been on a lot of people's radar right here, but it has some discrepancies to it as well. The only discrepancy that I see is last year's game was a 61-63 final of a game that looked like a dead under with my guy Noli in the chat. But it turned out to, I think they scored a total of like 60 something points in the in the fourth quarter alone or something like that. So and App State only lost by 2 points. So I mean, I think it's a lot of recency bias in the number, considering they saying like Mac Brown just got it going on now that he got rid of Wack Howe and we fading him in the NFL. But Mac Brown, it's supposed to be at the peak of his success with this guy right here. It's supposed to be much better, but that's a lot to prove. Going into App State, we all know the dynamic of App State is so high in the elevation that it takes a little while for the players to get adapt. So that's usually a good first half look to catch them slipping. It's going to take some while, but North Carolina's not far from there, so they're pretty used to that type of addition, but they are going up, so it may take a little while to get adjusted to. So I think App State plus the points, maybe early, should be a good spot, but that's not till 2:15. I'll see how I go through my beginning games of the day and see if I add that one. So keep a look on my Twitter for that. Which where you at with this one, Big Ragu?
Yeah, App State had a pretty ugly football game for a good portion of the definitely the first half and part of the third quarter against Gardner Webb, where they were losing, and then later in the game, I think they come up with two or three takeaways. That kind of got the defense settled down. So they had some defensive struggles in that particular spot there against a lesser opponent. But then again, like I say, week ones they're kind of hard to judge everything, take away everything. But it definitely was out of characteristic for a team like App State, to play that type of game, against Gardner Webb. And then App State, they were always known for stepping up, early on in the season against bigger teams. But now they grew up over the years, and they're playing in they're playing in the FBS leagues, and they've had some coaches churned over the years, and I think they're kind of, I'm not gonna say lost their luster, but they're still playing the Mountaineer style football that they play. And especially when they play, somebody like NC State or North Carolina or Michigan, the bigger, FBS type school. So I know it's probably not going to be a defensive type of game. I don't think we see 63-61. I think we see more like a 30s type game here, like 38 to 20s, probably like 50, high 50s, lower 60s. I think the total set like 63 and a half, somewhere in that range. But I think it's too many points overall for App State. We're talking 19 and a half points, on the number, 18 and a half, 19 and a half points. That you need three scores to catch the W here. I think it's a little too lean for NC for May, even though they still gave up, I think, like 300 and something yards last game on defense, passing yards. So they still have their issues to me on defense against the pass, whether App State's going to be able to move the ball through the air versus them. If they can, then, it'd be a lot closer than what the number should be. But I still think even if they can't, they run a balanced attack of 400 yards, somewhere in that range. I think they can still stay beneath that, that 19 and a half number. So, yeah, I'll take App State in this spot.
Yeah, I like it a lot. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Once again on the Boston Saw Show, no pre-conversation or nothing on this one, and we kind of landed on the both sides of that one. But Big Ragu's getting to the window with it. Oh, I didn't write that down. So Big Ragu plus the 19. Well, 19 and a half is up to now. Let's keep it rolling. Next one coming up. Oklahoma and SMU. Now, this is one that many talk about as well. I tried to get on this game. I tried to figure out. I mean, it's a great coaching matchup in the young coach Brent Venables versus Rhett Lashley. So this is just a great game. Like maybe the underdog is where it's at because it should narrow it out. But after Oklahoma's performance of all those points last year, I don't know what to say about this one. I don't want to get in front of Brent Venables. He's a quality coach on the rise right here, and he's a defensive guy, and they're putting up offensive points. So I don't see him letting up on the defensive side. So SMU could be in trouble right here. But if anybody has the skill to coach him out of it, it could be Red Lashley. So what do you think, Big Regu?
Like I say, SMU had that big win last week, and Lashley's a good coach. Venables, it's kind of funny like in college football when we get these defensive coaches and they start up as if I'm talking about assistants now. Like a DC becomes a head coach, you automatically think that, hey man, this guy's going to have this defense rolling and they're going to come in and change the culture and do things differently. But it didn't happen that much. And Oklahoma's always had that knock on them for the defense. But I think finally, I mean, like I say, we take away week one, they blew the team in orbit. You know what I mean? So you can't take everything and say, hey, they fixed it, everything's good. But SMU is going to be a good test for them because they still have it offensively, have it going for them, And even though they did beat up on, La Tech, your favorite quarterback, Bachmeyer, I think now they're going up against Dylan Gabriel here. And Dylan, we're well familiar. I am with him, former UCF guy, and he can put the ball up and he can make some plays. So, and in Oklahoma, they beat up on Arkansas State, so that was kind of like a no-brainer there. But I think in this spot here, though, I think we probably won't see as many points as people think from SMU, but I think we'll see some points from Oklahoma. And I think Oklahoma could really run up the score in this spot here. I look for a big time win. I think 16 is way too cheap. I'm not going to bet an alternate line here, but I would probably maybe look at an Oklahoma team total over possibly, but definitely on the side here. Matter of fact, I'm going to put the side up for 2 units here on this game. I think Oklahoma was going away.
So it's up to 16. I had 14 and a half for a couple of days ago.
Yeah. Well, let me see what the current number is here. I put it in the chat earlier, but I'm looking at my notes. I got early week notes when I do my breakdowns. I kind of put on the sheet, then I try to update them for the game here. But anyways, I don't know where the hell is it. Where is it? There's too many. The problem with Saturdays, there's so many freaking games on the board. I never find the damn things. But anyway, we'll just say it's 16. It don't matter. They're going to cover the 16, whatever it is. So it's easy cover.
Yeah, easy cover right there. But I like it 100%. But I did the same thing yesterday with the Illinois game when I capped it at the beginning. It was a nice 56 and a half. I had the over. By the time I got to the window with it, it was a 58. So I posted it as a 58. And what did we get? A nice 57. So it just goes like that. Getting the right number at the right time is a big thing. Now
that's a 3:00 game your time, so 6 mine. So I got the chronological order here on my sheet here, so I'll pick it up. Okay, 16 and a half right now.
16 and a half. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I got down at 16.
Well, I'm gonna keep it at what I got in a couple days for the show, and that was 14 and a half. I was getting these numbers from ESPN, so I always copy and paste my numbers from there. So that's where it came from. That's what we're gonna give you for the show. But next game up, let's see where we at with it. I'm all mixed around.
Yeah, I'm gonna take myself off the screen for 1 second, DJ.
Go for it. I got this one.
You got it. Go ahead.
This the Mountain West where I do it the best. You could go out if you want to. I go solo screen.
All right.
So the Mountain West where I do it the best right here. UCF and Boise State. Now this is one, like I said, there's some games that you just take whatever edge or whatever, and you run with it. And then there's some games that are thought out, and this is one of my thought out games right here today. And this one right here has 2 potent offenses. Boise State has been known for some defense in the past, but this year Boise State is heavy on the run with like 9 returners on offense, plus the athletic quarterback. in Taylor Green. That guy, he's a freaking nature football type guy. Like if he has to get it in using his feet, he will. If he has to get it in using his arm, he will. And so that's what we get out of them this year. So even though Andy Avalos is a defensive coach, he just hasn't been. I guess he doesn't have the players or something, but he's been missing a beat on the defensive side of the ball. And I see this pretty much the same thing over at UCF with Gus Malzahn. So it's a really heavy, Pumley's coming back. He's a little mobile with the RPO, so they get their money, as far as on offense and gaining yards and stuff like that. So as I debated the game back and forth for a side, back and forth for a side, I mean, Boise's coming off a loss. UCF needs every win they can get. They're only minus 3.5 on this one. So, as a Mountain West guy, I will be genuinely, I want to take Boise State, but I don't know what Boise State is looking at out of conference. But I know once they get in conference, they'll probably get it clicking. So it's not a game that I want to jump on the side, but all arrows lead to score, like two really heavy offenses. I watched the film of UCF. I seen sloppy tackles. I seen a lot of what I call catch and tackle, where the defenses are playing zone and they just set up not to never make a move on the ball. It's just set up to watch the guy catch the ball and they tackle him. So I'm going over with this one. It was 57.5 when I capped it, but now it's up to 60, and I still endorse the over. Boise has an exciting running game with Halani, and they're discovering a new guy at running back as well. So they're stacked. They're gonna get in the end zone. Somebody's gonna get behind. They're gonna have to throw the ball to get to where they're going. So I endorse the over still at 60 right there. So put me down on the show, Big Boss, over 60 in this game. You got anything on this one, Big Ragoon?
Not a whole lot. Just peeling it back a little bit from last week. Um, UCF opened up at home against Kent State, which is
Mm-hmm.
a very probably one of the worst. I say worst team, but lower level, one of the lower level teams in the MAC. They basically stomped a mud hole in their ass pretty bad, like 57-3 or something like that. And then flip side with your Boise squad, they went up and played a pretty good Washington team. So, tougher game for them, obviously, and they get to come home on the blue turf and play at home and become an underdog, which you don't see very often for Boise, at home. So it's kind of a weird spot, I think, for UCF too, to go on the road and play this game. Could be a dangerous type game for them, but we got to use, we got to measure, Boise's offense. Like you said, you think they'll score, and UCF, I know they'll be able to score points. So my question here is for both defenses. We know, like Boise played, like I say, a tough opponent in Washington, but UCF's defense, they're usually pretty good at stopping the run. They're built that way, and then every now and then they have a shining star on the DB side. So I'm curious to see what Boise State's offense could put up here against UCF. And I'm not sure. I don't know too much about Boise's defensive numbers. Like I said, I know they played Washington, good team. But probably the measuring stick would be Boise's defense against UCF's offense to determine how that total is going to play out. But I would almost lean taking Boise at home. I know it's a low number, for UCF to cover, but like I say, it's kind of a weird spot for them. So I lean Boise at home plus the points. And that's just a lean for me, but I'm not going to play it.
That's what's up right there. Yeah, and also I believe that's a quite a bit of travel right there too, from Central Florida to Boise State. Is it, Big Ragu?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a ride, nice little plane ride. Like I say, I understand the Washington Boise thing because the former coach left there and probably put some of those games schedule wise.
Yeah.
But this came out of the blue to me. I know Boise played FSU one year when Bachmeier was quarterback and beat them. So that was, but Boise, they get in these weird games, and they become dangerous. So I think this spot here could be dangerous for UCF.
Yeah, that game's a little later. I might join you on Boise State on that one. We'll see how we work out in the first half or what I have to do in the second half. Big shout out to our guy Flipper in the chat, one of our longtime friends
Yeah.
um, that we all love. So
I got
appreciate
to see
him.
Flipper when I was in Vegas last time, so that was a pleasure. It was good to see him too. I said, "Don't be a stranger, Flip. Get in the chat and get in it."
There
So
you go.
we have to
There you
invite him in
go.
some of our chats.
Absolutely. So now to bring in our guy that we had with us last week, man, he did such a phenomenal job last week that I said it's automatic that he comes back in this week.
Oh yeah.
And he's tuned up, excited to come. Some new talent out of the chat. And that goes to say to everybody in the chat or just watching that ain't in the chat, we're always welcome to bring you guys on and put some limelight to your capping and all the good stuff, and just have you around part of our brotherhood right here at Who-Bangin Sports Talk. So I'm gonna bring in my guy Wine Time Sports. What up, Wine Time? How you feeling today? Can you hear us?
He's muted.
Oh yeah, your mic's muted.
Is he frozen? Yeah, he's muted and he's frozen.
Oh, let me take him out and bring him back. Oh, there he
Let me get in
is.
and out real quick.
Okay, go in and out.
Am I looking good, guys? Am I lagging?
You lagging a little bit vocally, but we can see you now.
Let's go in and out really quick.
We're gonna have to bring him on back in a little while, and this is a part of having young guys come on. That's everything's not always tuned out or how it's supposed to be, and it's fine. It's definitely fine. We all have we're not in charge of our Wi-Fi and all that good stuff. Of course, if we can have it great, we have it great. But I'm gonna ease on into the next game while Wine Time gets together. I'll bring him in when he comes in right here. So this is a big one for me. Notre Dame, NC State, one of those spots. Like I did the eye test on both of these teams right here. This game right here is definitely gonna get played in the trenches right here. So I had to examine the trenches myself. Is that any better for you? Oh no, I guess not yet. But I had to examine the trenches for myself right here. I think this one right here is gonna be Sam Hartman's day. This is Sam Hartman day today. He gets a chance. Everybody's saying the poor performance. We should have beat him out by more. I mean, we covered the spread. What do you want out of this guy? You want us to just go out there and annihilate people, leave their heads cut off or something? We're just playing football. We just want to get a win. So this one right here is going to be Sam Hartman's day. It's going to be a chance for him because NC State has a big line, so a big front seven, but he's going to be able to get the ball out and throw it around. What's going to happen is the pass is going to be the balance to open up the run today instead of the run opening up the pass. But NC State is definitely going to come to run the ball. That Notre Dame defense is so tough, and they I guess I don't know how right I am, but I think it's a mentality of somebody on the defense to train these guys not to give up touchdowns. So they take it as to heart when you score touchdowns on them. So they're gonna be in here fighting, trying not to give up a touchdown on defense against an offense that's gonna be using their big guys in the front to try to move around. But we got big guys too in the front. So I think it's a whole media play on this 7.5. I think the line should have been more of like 8.5, 10 at the beginning. Because Notre Dame is actually on the high. We got more games under our belt. We went all the way to Ireland and back. And we're playing NC State. I don't see, NC State did beat Clemson last year, but it's a different Clemson from last year to this year. So I think it's just a lot of recency bias, and people love to hate Notre Dame. So all the haters are loving 7.5 with a team like NC State. I just don't get it 100%. I'm 2 units on Notre Dame today. Minus the 7. I waited this time. It worked in my favor. I was gonna buy it down anyway, but I waited to get the 7. So I got Notre Dame minus 7 for me. You got any thoughts on this game, Big Ragu?
No, I'm a Sam Hartman fan. I made a lot of wagers on Hartman at Wake Forest, first halves, full games, and he's a machine. That kid, man. I mean, what do you mean you're gonna hate on the guy? They won 56-3 when they played Tennessee State. What you think it's a game they're gonna get up in the morning and eat their bowl of Wheaties and get fired up to beat a team like Tennessee State? Get the hell out of here with that, man. They still scored 56 points, though. You know what I'm saying? But and then the Navy game was, that was like a spotlight game for him. That was like not a coming out party, because people that follow college football know about Hartman. and when he played for Clausen. But that was a pretty good display of gamesmanship by him. So yeah, I mean this is kind of almost like a homecoming. He's coming back to North Carolina and play the Wolfpack. The Wolfpack, they don't have Devin Leary no more. He's gone, and they're just trying to kind of put the pieces back together. So he was a big leader of that squad, and the next up kids they're going to have. They got a bunch of sophomores and juniors. Next up type talent. But I mean the numbers fitting here for me. I'm going to get away from it. And Notre Dame, they do what they do. They like to play those tough games on the road. They take on all comers, and they're forming an ACC basically team. They're back out as an independent again. So, but they still pick up the schedule, like you say, from the ACC, a lot of their plays and whatnot. But I mean, I definitely have to lean with. I'll probably follow you on this one with Notre Dame. That they could probably. I mean, when they at the Wolfpack, they are one of these teams that can jump up in a dog roll that have given teams fits in the past. But like I say, with Leary gone, and they do have Armstrong. I think he was if I'm mistaken, I think he was a transfer they brought in to play. I don't know a whole lot about him, but he's a senior. I'm going to say, I would definitely lean Notre Dame side here without question. But like I say, they can be one of these teams that jump up and bite you. But I think they have a lot of momentum in South Bend with what they got going on defensively and offensively right now.
Yeah, I think we could definitely be looking at a team that's better than I think they really should be, or where I thought they would be. I mean, they're sized appropriately. They're explosive on defense. They have a really strong running game, and now we got a quarterback that can actually get the ball down the field. Now, a lot of people do say that NC State with the last year they may have Hartman. I'm sorry. I almost said Sam Howell. Say they had Sam Hartman's number last year when they played him when he was at Wake Forest. So
yeah,
I don't think you translate that over. Just like in the NFL, they talk about Derek Carr never had a defense that were top ranked to make him play better, which he's getting everything he need and more at Notre Dame. He couldn't have more support. He couldn't have a better defense. He couldn't have targets. Everything is great for him compared to where he was at Wake Forest. And Notre Dame does well against ACC teams. So I'm totally on this one, and also endorsed the under on this. They got some weather going down over there in North Carolina. I think it was like some thunderstorms or stuff earlier, but I think it should calm down a little bit in a minute near the game. So I'm looking at a first half under, and I'm debating it between full game under. I seen the first half was at like 24. The numbers came way down. The number was up high, but the weather has brought it down. So under full game, under first half, still a play for me. I'm just going to leave it at under full game. I'm going to stay away from the first half because the 24, I think Sam Hartman is definitely going to come out in the first half and put up 2. NC State may squeeze 1 out of there. So then what happens after that? How much time? I'm not sure.
This team played, just for note, NC State played UConn last week at UConn. And UConn, they were 14.5 point favorite at UConn, and UConn covered the number by 4.5. They only scored 24 on UConn. 24-14 was the final. So that tells you right there what to look forward. And this is a team down the stretch last year that lost, 4 games out of the last, or 3 out of the last 4, against Louisville, Boston College. They beat North Carolina, and they lost to Maryland in a bowl game. So, and then, like I said, with Devin Leary gone, and they're still some things out. They can't try to figure out too many things offensively because Notre Dame might, just blow it past them if they take too long to get things figured out. So I might join you on that. Matter of fact, I'm going to make it official. You put me on Notre Dame in that spot too.
Yeah, and put me down for the show for the official under as well. I got it earlier at 49. So Big Boss under 49 and Big Ragu on Notre Dame -7. My man, Wine Time, are you there with us?
Yes, sir. I'm here, boys.
Looking all fresh now, man. Look at him.
Yeah, I had to put it back to my phone. I'm sorry about that, guys. Apologies for that internet connection.
No problem.
But I'm in here, guys. I missed a couple of things you guys said about this game. I hate to say, though, I am on the other side. I did move on NC State yesterday. I got the +7.5. I see it down to +7 now. Guys, this is a really contrarian play that I really like. I've been looking at it all week. Earlier in the week, it was about 25% of bets, about 35% of money. Right now, it's about 30% of bets, and I believe 49% of money. As about 15 minutes ago, I think it was. Super contrarian. I like that they're playing at NC State. I like Armstrong back with his new old offensive coordinator from Virginia, where he really excelled. I expect him to have one of the bigger games of his career in this game. I was telling DJ this yesterday, though. I mean, I think the world of Sam Hartman, man. Like, I think he is one of the best college quarterbacks in college football right now. A lot of respect for the guy. I won't be surprised if they win this game by 3 points. I just don't see them covering the 7. I could be wrong. I'm going to take my chances with it, though. I just think that a lot of people are going to be hammering the Notre Dame money line in their parlays and stuff like that. I just think it's going to be a parlay buster as well. Again, could be wrong, you know what I mean? Sam Hartman could go out there and throw 5 touchdowns in the first half, you know what I mean, and blow these guys out of their own stadium. That very well could happen, but he's going to have to show me that. He hasn't really faced any. He faced Navy and I believe a lesser opponent last week, I believe.
Tennessee State.
I do. And Tennessee State, yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see Sam Hartman actually face a little bit of competition here. I think it's going to be a really good game. I'm really excited to watch this one. This is one of my bigger plays of the day. I hate to say that because I know DJ's big Notre Dame guy, you know what I mean? Yeah, and I know how it is. And Notre Dame does have a good team this year, but I think they can stay within 7 points of this game.
Hey, I got to run to the window and put more money to balance out my bet versus yours. Okay, step my thing up. But yeah, we love to have people on the other side in this one. It's going to be a good game to watch for those reasons. But I like everything that you said about Moore and all the good stuff over here at UCLA. And I think I'm gonna call you our UCLA guy since I had to take the Mountain West title and the Notre Dame title. I'm gonna call you the UCLA guy. Now this is a word versus a Mountain West team that I know so well. And Big Ragu, he's been around me long enough. He kind of knows the Mountain West too now. He won't tell you, but he knows everything because he hears it too much. But let's get your take on this UCLA San Diego State game going down at 4:30. UCLA minus a big 14.5. I think it went down to 14 though. And the over-under is at 48.5. That just doesn't seem correct, but that's what I have. What you got going on in this game?
Yeah, DJ, again, I'm a big Mountain West guy too. I believe last week when I came on the show, I gave out a couple of those. I think it was Fresno State and Boise. I missed on the Boise, but that Fresno State, man, I'm a big fan of that Fresno State team. They were, I think, down 10 at one point. I just had all the confidence that they were going to come back and win that game outright. I did take the points, but I like this Fresno State offense. So it'd be interesting to see. But as far as this game goes, I've been watching a lot of this SDSU tape these last couple of games. This quarterback's, I believe he came in as a safety out of Mississippi State, or he at least moved to safety last season. They had him come back, moved to quarterback. He's a left-handed quarterback, really, really mobile. I think he's 6'3", 220, just one of those typical athletes. He can do it all. He doesn't have the biggest arm. I think they do like him more for his legs. And last week, I believe he went 13 carries for about 160. One of them was a 60-yard touchdown run where just no one could catch him. Pretty crazy to see, honestly, at his size, how fast he is and such a good athlete he is. But with that being said, they almost lost the game to Idaho State last week at home. They almost lost to Ohio after they knocked Ohio's starting quarterback out. San Diego State hasn't really faced anyone good. I'll give Idaho State a little more credit. I do think they're a little bit better than what people thought they were. I don't think that spread should have been as high as it was. But I expect UCLA to come in here. I know Dante Moore will be getting the start under center. If he doesn't get the start under center, I will be very shocked. I expect him to come in and throw a couple touchdowns right away in this game. I don't think this secondary is going to even be able to compete with Jay Michael or Kyle Ford, Logan Loya. I think they're going to be too fast and too big for them. And I think once DJ lets it sling, once he gets comfortable out there, I think he's going to really just let it go and leave it all out there. And he's going to have a really big first half. Chip has said all week that all three quarterbacks will be playing again. So we'll see what happens there. That's my only worry, but I believe that this game will be out of hand by the first half to where the full game should be an easy cover. It did move down to minus 13.5, which as a guy that follows line movement and betting percentages and all that stuff, that does scare me because I thought it was going to go up a little bit. I think this should be a 20-point spread. I think they should blow the roof off these guys. Their D linemen aren't going to be able to get past our own linemen. Our D linemen are going to go past their O linemen to make that quarterback get under even more pressure. And I don't think he's going to be able to go off on one of these 60-yard runs that he did last week against Idaho State. I don't think he's going to be able to outrun any of our secondary. So I don't have any issues with that. I did take UCLA minus 14. It's down to 13.5 right now. I definitely do endorse it. The total of this game confused me a little bit, guys, because, UCLA is never known for their defense, and the total is not even at 50 right now, which makes me think that I think this is going to be about a 32-10 type game. I don't expect San Diego State to score much, maybe about 10 to 13 points, and I think UCLA covers this game fairly easy. Might sound like a homer pick, but from everything that I've seen, athlete-wise on each of these teams too, I just think it's a big mismatch. So I will be taking UCLA minus 14 this.
Let me go next, and I'm gonna let Big Ragu finish it off with the cherries on top. But yeah, I like UCLA as well. What you said about, I thought Moore was the starter though. I seen around that Moore was supposed to be getting the start for this one. And everything you said about Borg was true. And I watched that closely last week. The guy, he's a real gamer. He can use his feet and his arm to score. A definite asset in UCLA's offense. But I think that the kinks in UCLA offense is coaching and play calling. I think that UCLA's strong point is their defense. Their defense has matured. A bunch of transfer players came in, few new ones, but they're molding together better than ever. So I like UCLA's defense in this one. And San Diego State, with the quarterback situation, I said it earlier in the season, like the guy was a fourth-string quarterback slash, like you said, recruited for a defensive player as well. And he had one, lucky, come in and did something well. That doesn't mean much for the long term. He still can't throw the ball. San Diego State offense looked the same as it was as ever. If anything, the running game is getting a little back to how it was. But you got to know something about Brady Hoke and the San Diego State defense. Like, the number is low because of San Diego State, not because of UCLA. The secondary at San Diego State is elite. It's a place where NFL and other places go to get some of the top secondary players that they can get. And there's something weird about it. They don't look size. They don't look speed. It has to do with the coaching and the system that they run. They play huge. Even the defensive line, they're not the biggest guys or this, that, and but they play huge on the field. So I do think San Diego State defense, and I thought they were a level down last year. This year they're back to being real San Diego State defense. And you got to know the California code too. Like, a lot of these guys on San Diego State's defense played against some of these guys that's at UCLA right now just because of the local scene. So, that's always a factor where the underdog could get some type of advantage. But I think it doesn't stop UCLA's offense. I'm looking at like a 30-10. San Diego State's probably going to find some open holes or get a breakaway, get a touchdown in, benefit off a turnover or something, get a field goal or maybe a second touchdown in. So I think UCLA, it's going to take a while for them to get it going, but they're eventually going to get it going maybe in the second half where they can, look at some fatigue or some of those factors. They're going to be playing in a nice 80-something degrees out here in San Diego State. This Snapdragon Stadium was built weirdly and it absorbs too much heat. They had people passing out last year in the stands because of the heat out there. So supposedly they fixed that a little bit. They got their first win at home at Snapdragon this year. So I don't know, different beast today. I can't see how San Diego State's going to score. So I'm on UCLA. I recognize San Diego State's defense, so I'm on the under. Where you at with it, Big Ragu?
Somebody's got to bet San Diego State, right? That's going to be me. Hey, but no, I think you're right. Both sides of the ball for UCLA. I mean, they're talented offensively, but they're young. You don't forget, we're looking at a freshman quarterback, getting his feet wet last week, and I like the fact that you're pumping up San Diego State's secondary and whatnot, and then again, San Diego State with 2 games under their belt against lesser opponents. One is a favorite, which they won the game but didn't cover, and then one is as an underdog, and I think they covered that one. So, but yeah, I'm going to be on the San Diego State side here, guys. I'm following the market a little bit on this one, and some people's numbers that I respect. I looked at those, and they kind of favor San Diego State here. And then, like you made a perfect point talking about the total. With the number being as low as it, college, that's a decent number. 48 is not a real high number, but it's not really low either for a Pac-10 / Mountain West matchup. So that tells you, this game's going to lean a little bit more defensively. Now, UCLA's numbers last year against the pass were not spectacular. I think they were like 11th in conference. And with the quarterback change, that kind of saved their, salvage their season last year, with the kid coming in from the defensive side to play quarterback. Probably make some plays with his legs and his arm a little bit. So that's going to be the test here, is what San Diego State's QB is going to do against the pass defense for UCLA. If they're able to put the ball up in the air a little bit, then you might creep over that number here. But I think it's going to be closer than people think, and I think the score, I think the number's right where it needs to be as far as the total goes. So I'm going to take the points here. If you're going to take, I'm going to make a suggestion for you. If you're going to take the points, I think some of the sharper money, if there's any sharps involved, have been on San Diego State as of late, like as of yesterday, late yesterday, early this morning. But you know what happens? The public gets to the window late, and then it'll jump the number up. So if you're going to bet UCLA, I'd play them now. If you're going to take San Diego State, I'll wait till later.
Yeah, and call me off of the UCLA side. I'm just gonna take the under on that one. I'm gonna give that to Wine Time by itself.
Right, so we all got a different.
We all got a different bet.
Yeah. So let's go into the last game so people can get to the window, because we see you at the window all the time. But let's go to the last one right here. This is a late one, 7:30 right here. Auburn to play Cal. I got the wrong line on here for sure. That's Auburn -6.5. The over and under is 54.5. And this one's going to be out in Berkeley. Beautiful place to play football. What I got on this one? You Freeze over here, Auburn. This is just one. Cal looked good last week, and I think that's the bias and everything. Cal on paper was supposed to be a lot better than before, but not enough to come in here and knock out a team like Auburn. At the end of the day, after watching film on both of them, it's just a size difference in there, and I think Auburn eventually get to them. Like we said last week with BYU, and not in the first half, in the second half, somewhere the forces are gonna bend them apart. And Auburn was a little impressive, but they only played UMass, so I'm taking Auburn -6.5. What you got on this, Big Ragu?
You know what? I was kind of licking my chops to see who Auburn was going to play last week, because we talked about Freeze coming in, and I predicted Freeze would be the coach like 3 games into the season last year for Auburn. But he's not going to turn that program on its head year one. He'll have an effect for sure, positive effect now that Harson's gone. But I was telling myself, whoever Auburn plays next week, taking the other side, because they're going to be feeling a little bit about themselves because they beat up on a poor UMass squad. 54 points they scored in that game against, let's say, 14. And that was one of my great picks last week, is UMass, by the way. So to UMass, I know you're underachievers and we didn't expect much, but I figured I overplayed that game a little bit because of the fact that I was playing against first-year Auburn, not putting things together. But UMass is that bad. So anyways, I'm taking that game with a grain of salt thrown over my shoulder. Cal, in instance, Cal played a pretty decent game last week. They played a North Texas squad on the road. In North Texas, they put up 58 in that game. And, we used to seeing Cal score lower type numbers, and defensively. North Texas was still able to put up 21 points here. I don't think we'll see a back and forth type game here. I think we'll see a game that kind of bodes towards the under. As a matter of fact, I've got this game that is about 4.5 points better to the under here. So I think we'll see maybe like high 40s, low 50s. So I lean that way too. I like I like you got Washington State up there minus 11 and 55.5. What is
Yeah, I
this?
got the wrong.
You got
It's I got 54 and a half
yeah,
earlier in the week.
54.5, right. So
Yeah.
I can see that, like I say, I can see this, right around 50, 48 points, somewhere in that round. So I lean under here. I think Auburn's not going to have the ease that they had last week, obviously, with UMass. So I think they're still going to have to make some offensive adjustments, which Cal is usually a pretty good defensive-minded ball club. So, and then that travel spot too, that's kind of another weird game for them. They're going to be playing late night on the West Coast, so the travel, I think all things point to Cal here with the total and possibly the side too. I show slight value in Cal on the side too.
There we go. How about you?
Play, it's not an official play.
Okay, not official for Big Red
Right,
Gold.
right. Even though it says look at my chops for a play against Auburn, I'll tweet it out if I play it.
Yeah, so yeah, make sure you follow Big Ragu 62 on Twitter so you can get those live up to date plays. Now we're gonna let you finish it off. Wine time, bring it home for us on this one.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, good breakdown, fellas. Like what you said too, Ragu, about that under. I'm kind of leaning that way too. I do like Cal in this one. I gave it out on Twitter yesterday at plus 6.5. I see someone just said in the comments that it's already down to plus 5, if I'm not mistaken. If so, then that's some crazy line movement. Jimmy the Bag actually got me on this game during the week. He was talking about it. It was a late night game. Didn't really look at it in the beginning when I was capping everything. And everything he said just kind of made sense to me. And the market was going towards that way. It's very contrarian. Right now, a little bit more of the public has been betting it, which I'm very surprised at.
Yeah.
But this is a big travel spot for Auburn. This is the farthest they've traveled in I don't know how long. I want to say over 10. I want to say over 15 years for a non-conference or even a regular season game. I'm not sure about bowl games, but Hugh Freeze talked about it. They got out there a day early so they can get accustomed to the time change. It's 3 hours difference. He's having his players stay up later last night, get up earlier today. This is going to be a little confusing for the Auburn players because they're not used to playing in California. I'm not sure how many California players they have on that team. And I think a lot of people just think they can go into Berkeley and get this win because if you look at the athletes, I think Auburn's got the better athletes. They got the bigger line. They probably have, coaching-wise, he did a great job at Liberty, Hugh Freeze, man. I think he's going to do good things at Auburn. I just think this is a tough situation for him. I took Cal plus 6.5. I sprinkled money line plus 200. I'm glad I took it yesterday because I didn't think the line was going to move this much, but I'm glad the market agrees with me. If Cal is down to 5, if that's true. But yeah, I did move on Cal plus 6.5 and the money line 200. I haven't moved on the under, but you got me thinking on that, Ragu. I might have to move on something late night.
Yeah. I love it. Good breakdown.
There we go. So we putting you down officially for
Cal plus 6.5.
Yeah, you guys might have me on that one. I'm kind of convinced, but Cal just got to prove it to me. But I got you down for Cal plus 6.5.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There we go. By the way, Wine Time went 2-1 on the show last week. If you tuned in, Wine Time, you got any other plays you want to put them on for today?
Yeah, man. I gave them out on Twitter. I have a play that I really like this morning. I believe I put it in on Monday. I took it super early. I threw a unit on it. I took Wake Forest money line, Utah money line, and UCLA money line for about minus 105. I like the odds on that one. I moved on Texas Tech plus 6.5 against the Oregon Ducks. I think Oregon's going to go into Lubbock a little. I don't know. I think this crowd's going to be cheering really loud. I think Texas Tech is going to have a good home crowd there, and I think they're going to somehow stay close in this game. I did take them plus a 6.5. I took a little something on – I didn't give this out on Twitter, but I did move on Nebraska this morning just because I saw how many bets were on Colorado. I took the plus 3 minus 120. I did take the under 44 in the East Carolina and Marshall game. And I did take Arizona State tonight plus 3 against Oklahoma State. I'm writing a lot of the Pac-12 schools this week, boys. I know the Pac-12 hasn't been good these last couple of years, but I don't know, man. I like what I saw from them week 1, and these lines are I just think they're a little fishy, and I like the contrarian side on them.
Nothing never wrong with being on the contrarian side. Big Ragu, you got any extra plays, parlays,
Yeah,
anything you want
I
to put them
almost
on?
forgot. I got a real sharp play on Troy, and what was the game here? Actually, I go through my notes. I get discombobulated way too easy here. Kansas State and Troy under. Sharp information on this game to the under here, guys. A big move, like 51 down to 49.5. So yeah, and I got a notification on that one. So that's a little tidbit there for you. I got under 49.5 in the Troy K-State game.
That's what's up right there. I got a nice little money line par, Notre Dame, Colorado, UCLA, and Auburn for a plus 285. So that's just what I got going on right there. That's pretty much all I got for today. Big Ragu, it's been a wonderful show. Make sure y'all go follow our guy Winetime. He must have some more technical difficulties, but I don't have anything else to say. Give y'all a few minutes to get to the windows, get yourself all tucked in and ready to go. Big shout out once again to Flipper for showing up. We need you here every week, Flipper, with those live lines. You really helped our chat today.
He needs to get involved with us. Hey, DJ, do me a favor. Put my plays up, and I put a little thing I put in a DM. Pop that up in there. It's in the bottom of the chat right now. You guys can go back and look at what I got early on, and then the add-ons, you can watch it back. So that's what I'm on today. As far as I know, everything's kind of jumbled up together, but you guys can discern it. You guys are sharp bettors. You can figure out, put two and two together, what I like. So, anyways, that's what I'm on today so far.
Man, we had a huge chat today, man. We had a bunch of people watching us live out there. Shout out to North Ender, Paul VU. Shout out to who else we got in here? Justin, of course. OG Wham hit the scene for a minute. Of course, my man Ix Snizzle with the live sweat. He was over here hanging out with us. Nutflesh Allen, of course, came through. Razor Sharp Pigs, always one of our favorites to come checking out. New to the chat that I've seen, Felia Mathis. Shout out, guys, says what's up to us right there. Our guy Dabby Cab stopped by to say what up to the fam. Noli Knows was in the chat. I mean, what better low baggers or cappers, to hang out with and talk college football?
That's our family right there, brother.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And also Kong's Clips showed up and gave a lot of input along with Don Play. Our man Nate Dog 420 came to hang out and see us. Some OG low baggers in there. So Nasty Nate stepped in for a minute. Shout out to Ramon Scott. He said he started the game with obvious weather. Was looking at some weather earlier. Yeah, watch out for weather today in a couple of those games. They got those thunderstorms rolling through. But of course, our guy Damon from San Diego checked us out. But RVD 420 also came through. Just wanted to give a quick shout out to everybody. I don't really have much more to say, but keep showing up. Oh, go for it. Go for it.
If you notice, I didn't bring this up during our discussion, but I'm also on Miami first half under 25.5. The Miami Texas A&M game under the first half total 25.5. And how about them Seminoles, baby, last week kicking the shit out of Brian Kelly and the
Oh man, good job,
take
man.
your little bag and go home, cry to your little wife and your bunch of players in the locker room that told you you're going to beat the shit out of Florida State. Get out of town with that nonsense.
Yeah, shout out to Florida State too. I mean, Florida State was like size appropriate and everything. Like they got a big, huge defensive line, offensive line. They got all the tools that says playoffs written all over them. So I like what they did.
I'm excited for this year. So hopefully it holds up. We'll see. It's a long season.
Exactly.
They proved me 31 points. I'm off of that.
They proved me all the way wrong last week, and Brian Kelly get it together. And we're gonna get out of
that game. Their defensive coordinator Fuller, which I have a love-hate relationship with. He's one of the worst guys in college. If you go man-to-man on him, seems like he always gets the wrong coverage. But to his credit, in the second half of that game, he went back to Mickey Andrews styles. Those of you who are FSU guys, years gone by, Bobby Bowden, Mickey Andrews, defensive coordinator. Them guys were flying everywhere on defense, mixing up the coverages. So we need more of that. If you're listening to me, Fuller, keep the momentum going.
You heard it here first on Boss of the Sauce Show. Come back next weekend for some more of this. Tune in to us on all the social media outlets, especially like, share, and tell a friend about us on what you call it, and let them know Who-Bangin Sports is a wonderful place with great cappers, all free information, and some good times. We out.